it. It's
Not it, but
not it. Like,
they all look the same. That's the problem.
you need to mark it down.
I don't know how to.
Ooh. Is that it? That's the same one. This might be it. Can you use it for a little bit?
Don't know.
I think that's right.
No. I sincerely don't know. I feel like I've played all the ones that say I've previously played them.
Because your passion never runs out.
Hey,
You deserve monthly
bad ad.
income.
Bad ad.
Let's go with that one.
Okay.
Put that up on the mic.
Why you know like that? What did you do? Touched it. I really can't read that anymore.
Says we're still streaming. Says there's interrupted. Okay, go back. Not the same, but it's okay. Alright, we can take a listen to what it was last week. Hi, well, hello everybody, welcome. Alright, we can pray. Yeah.
Okay, fade out.
Welcome everybody. Glad to have you here for church chat. We're in a different location here because things are starting to hop, and but they
This is true.
just moved the teachers, so we probably could have been in the church
It's
area,
true.
but I wasn't sure if they were going to come back.
It's
and
okay.
be
We got a
loud.
new location.
Yeah,
We're live. We're local. We're on location.
that's right. Very good. Welcome. How are y'all doing? I'm going to watch the stream here. We are not on the Ethernet right now, and sometimes this Wirecast program has trouble when we try to not be on the internet. I think that might have been what happened on Sunday, where we lost the stream. If you're watching Sunday Mass, I might have been trying to run it on
the wireless
The
or
wireless
Wi-Fi
instead of
network
the-
rather than,
Mhm.
and the Wi-Fi's don't always work as well as
No,
Ethernet.
yeah, Wi-Fi, bad
Mhm.
Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
So, how are you doing? Welcome to Church Chat for whatever today is. It's the August
The
12th.
12th. It is the
Yes.
feast of Saint Jane Frances de Chantal.
That is correct, yes.
Jean Français de
Jean-François
Chantal.
de Chantal.
I need to, yeah. Français de Chantal, I think. Du. You have to remember that in French it's du, not de.
Du.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I do.
Mhm. My French is pretty rusty anymore, so.
I got very rusty French.
Mhm.
Yes. So, how are y'all doing? Looks like people are still tuning in here.
Tuning in. Mhm.
Yep. I'm just keeping a watch. I'm sorry if we might have lost some people when we got the stream
Mhm,
interrupted. So,
So we know who
Hopefully
are
coming
really
back.
our faithful viewers. Right now.
so yeah, I don't know what happened there, but we're glad to have you here. And what you doing? What's keeping you connected? And in the distance, we're trying to be your community in the distance.
Mhm.
What if we were just talking, or I was just positing out there. We are just checking in to see how we're doing. We're coming to another kind of checkpoint here as we begin the school year.
Certainly.
And that's why we're not in the narthex, because we thought it'd be a little bit too busy. But we are wondering, or I am wondering at least, are we still serving serving a purpose here with Church Chat?
I wonder that frequently in my life.
Is this still something that is helpful for people? Do you want something different? Do you want us to do something different? You know, we continue to evolve and change. When we first started out, let's talk about our history, shall we?
Mm-hmm,
You want to talk about our history?
Mm-hmm, we might. Mm-hmm. Would you like to begin?
So when we first started this in the whole pandemic, we basically said, well, what are we going to do to stay connected? Because there were people, mass was shut down, churches were shut down, people were shut down. You couldn't do anything except for like stay in your homes. And so
Mhm.
we were really concerned about people
Mhm.
connecting. That's why we started
Right.
the fireside chat. And since we had really nothing else to do because we were not in the office ourselves, we just sat around the fireside
Mhm.
and chatted, and that's
This
how
is
it all
true.
began. And started with a little camera, and
Mhm.
and so our original programming was we started with the fireside chat,
Mhm.
daily mass, rosary,
That's true. And then you got to see us experiment with the camera with the wee hours in the morning too.
That's
which is
true.
always exciting. I was always surprised that people would be tuning in at 11 o'clock at night when I wanted to be in bed.
and I was saying, no, guys, we got to figure out simulcasting.
Mhm.
And then we also should I mention the unhappy memories of Fridays?
Stations of the Cross, yeah, those were painful. Mhm.
One of our lower moments of streaming.
Yeah. Mhm. The camera you would think that the camera could only fall over so many times in one live streaming event, but no. Stations of the Cross always proved us wrong.
Yeah. Well, so then as the stay-at-home orders were lifted, we started coming over here for mass. And well, how'd that work first? Stay-at-home was lifted, and then we were at public mass, came back right away, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then we had it back in the church.
And we were going back and forth, back and forth
Right.
for a while. Mhm.
And that was a little tricky and
Mhm.
kind of annoying.
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we did that for a while, and then as the office got bigger and more, we got back in the office more.
Mhm. Our office was expanding. We didn't realize it. Mhm. We've actually taken up the whole block here on 75th. It's great.
We're like Holy Trinity.
Exactly. we're on to you. Mhm.
We're just gonna keep building new buildings.
Mm-hmm.
No, but so then our responsibilities at the office kind of grew, and it became a little bit more difficult to do a 5-day-a-week show. So we condensed down to once a week.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, I had also started the Bible study.
Right.
We had pulled back on the rosaries because
We were out of original things to say.
we were out of original things to say, but also there was it became trickier also, if I recall,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
we were trying to
Yeah.
put that along with something else. We had evening appointments.
Certainly,
and-
our desire is to meet you where you are at.
Right.
And it doesn't make any sense to be praying a rosary when you are in our office.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to be praying a rosary online when you're in the office and we need to be having meetings with you there. So,
Right, yeah.
mhm.
So there's that. And then I started doing that news show on Fridays as well. So Yeah, we are just wondering: does this show continue to meet your needs, or would you like us to do something different, or is it time to let this let this show go? I see 4 viewers on Facebook
Right.
at the moment, 4 eyeballs. So just we're wondering, because I think that people are getting busy again. I mean, people, it's not just us, but other people, you're working on getting kids to school and everything. So we're just wondering, I mean, we can continue to do this, but we also don't need to do this if this is not serving a particular.
Or it could take a different format.
Sure, right? So just let us know.
Maybe a live show is not nearly as helpful anymore.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe we could do a recorded show.
A recorded show, less frequency but higher quality, something of that
Yeah,
sort. where
right. Because we basically turn on the camera and start talking. That's what we do.
Exactly. Which, again, I don't know why you guys are watching, but you are many times. So
We're happy to have you here. So just let us know if there's anything different that we can do to help meet your needs better.
I've been saying, recently, this has nothing to do with this, is a tangent, but let's go on it for a moment.
Go-
The different
tangent
ways,
away.
the different ways that you can say you in the plural in the English language. And I didn't used to say this, but I've become a you guys person.
Oh, you guys.
Yeah, that's a very Midwestern thing.
Mm.
When I was living in Pittsburgh, we didn't usse to say that, but
You guys.
it's a very Midwestern. Actually, if you take one of those tests that look to see where your accent or where your dialect is from, then it actually locates that particular verbal anomaly in Wichita itself. That's where the center of the you guys verbal anomaly is.
Well, I'll be.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is interesting.
I can't say vosotros here, or ustedes.
No,
So.
no. People look at you very strangely if you say
Yeah.
vosotros here.
Exactly.
In English or Spanish.
In English or Spanish, right?
Hey, vosotros.
Vosotros, ¿cómo estáis?
Stop it. Stop it, vosotros. Yeah, I was thinking about the your service
Vosotros.
project, and you're calling out to your kids. Hey, vosotros.
Yeah.
Stop hitting each other with sticks or whatever.
I haven't been too bad about that.
You have your last social service project for the youth tonight, right?
We do, yes. So those have been very successful. We have about 18 students come last time, which is great. And we'll see how many come for this last one. This last one, we'll be focusing on clearing away brush and preparing for other projects that may come in the fall. So if you have a student who's interested and he's in the 8th, he or she is in the 8th to 12th grade, then please send them over. We can use them in our work here. And it's a great opportunity for us to get to know each other, the students to form a community around the parish. So I'm very excited for what we're going to be continuing.
Awesome, very good. Yeah, see, it's been a great project, and you're working on getting the middle the high school group going as well. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's in progress. We'll see how that goes.
Very good. Well, let me switch over and say hi. I see that my sister is over there on the church chat, so I will go over and do my thing here. To the old camera. That color looks normal. Look at that.
Look at that.
All the
Play with the camera.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So, wow, this camera actually almost looks better than the other one. How do you know? What do you know? Hello there. Hi there, Rachel and Rosalie and Laura and a little stubborn baby in there that's not coming out. What are you doing? Why are you hanging in there so much? Come on, it's time to get born. Let's get yourself out of there and get born. I've got a nephew that's due. Let's do it. Let's get him out there. So hopefully the baby will be born soon. I look forward to meeting my new little nephew. So I hope that you have a great day. And someday it's going to be a birthday. So looking forward to that. And yes. So, and hello to the Dryland girls. I hope that you are also having a great day. And we'll go back to the blue camera. So one of the things that we are trying to talk about, that is so blue.
It is.
Blue.
Blue moon, you left me standing alone.
So one of the things that we are talking about, we're trying to share our joys, highlights, kind of things that have been good for us here in the past week. Got any joys or things to share that you've been reading? What have you been reading? What have you been watching? What's brought you joy? That's what we're asking. So,
What have I been reading lately? Nothing too exciting, to be honest. I've started a biography of Bishop Miege,
oh really?
so that's interesting. I'm only
Uh-huh.
a couple chapters into that. But my priest prayer group, we're going to be reading the biography of Bishop Miege together.
Oh good.
And that will be a good way for us to do some intellectual formation. And what are you doing? I see that.
That's better, right? Just
No.
like that.
I will leave.
Oh,
There we go. So there's it's called Miege Bishop East of the Rockies, I think, or a Bishop East of the Rockies.
Okay.
So Bishop Miege was the founding bishop of our diocese. Wasn't it the diocese of Leavenworth?
Something like that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming back. It's getting
okay.
better.
It's okay. So we will be reading that together, and so that's one book that I'm reading right now.
Good. Good.
Are you reading anything interesting?
Well, I'm doing a lot of that Bible study, so I am diving into. I'm doing Isaiah in about a month,
Mhm.
and that's
Okay.
that's a big book.
That is a big book.
I'm a little scared of it. So,
Mhm. Isaiah is basically 3 big books.
right,
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
it's Isaiah 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kind of should be separated into 1, 2, and 3 Isaiah. I mean, there's 1st and 2nd Kings. I don't know why there's not 1st and 2nd and 3rd Isaiah, but
I don't know. Well, the prophets are all very confusing
sure.
to walk through because their orders are often not the chronological order that you would expect.
Mhm.
Especially with Jeremiah. Jeremiah is the most confusing out of all of them.
And that's what I'm doing that next week.
Oh, okay, good. Jeremiah, whenever I was studying, I had to have a chart beside my desk that would basically go, okay, this chapter is from this decade, this chapter is from this era, this chapter is from this era. Because the way that the scribes put them together is not chronological, and we're not exactly sure what the order is. So there's some parts, I think the story of Jeremiah doesn't come until the, 3rd or 4th chapter, or is that Isaiah?
I haven't started Jeremiah
Okay,
yet.
yeah, but Isaiah, the calling of Isaiah doesn't happen until like the 3rd chapter too.
Yes, because I have not gotten there yet. So
Mhm.
I'm only in
So,
the 2nd chapter at the
They're,
moment.
they're beautiful texts, obviously. I mean, the sacred scripture, but they're also some of the more confusing sections if you want to try to understand what's going on chronologically and understand the whole, let's say, the whole story of the prophet.
Right. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm trying to digest and figure out what's the best way to approach that. Meanwhile, then so we got Ephesians on this Saturday, and then the letters of John in Spanish. So I'm
Mhm.
doing a lot.
You're doing a lot.
I'm doing a lot of these Bible studies. They take some time to do them well, and hopefully to do them properly and interestingly. So so I'm trying to get a little bit ahead. I am taking a 2-week 2-week break for Labor Day, and then the Saturday after Labor Day.
Mhm.
Give me a little bit of break and a little bit of time to get ready for those prophets. So what am I doing? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel.
Okay.
For those 3 weeks in September. So I'm trying to prepare myself with that, and that's been it's been a good kind of structure also for my spiritual reading and staying up to date with all that kind of stuff. So that's
Mhm.
been good.
Very nice.
We also watched some more of The Chosen
We did, yeah. Mhm.
on what was that, Sunday?
Sunday evening, I think we watched 2 episodes, right?
We did.
Mhm.
It was and it was great.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating series. It's one of those. It's more of a person's meditations on the people.
Sure.
So you can't look at it for biblical accuracy.
Sure, no.
But it's a very interesting series.
Sure. Right.
Mhm.
And they say that flat out at the beginning of,
Yeah.
of the show is like this is just we're telling the story of these people. This is our own interpretation. There's no scriptural basis for.
Yeah, we don't know the family history of St. Peter. We don't know
Right.
his relationship with his wife. We don't know really the history of St. Matthew or anything like that.
Right.
So they're using their imagination and trying to know what they know, understand what they know about the characters, which is, okay, Matthew's a tax collector. Let's try to understand and create a character who's a tax
Mhm.
collector. Okay, Peter was a fisherman. Let's try to create a character who is a fisherman. And then using their imagination tell the story of Jesus is coming into their life. So in that way, I think it's a really fascinating and brilliant series.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So we're three episodes in, and I'm very much enjoying it, and so we also watched A Foils War. We hadn't watched A Foils
We
War in
did
a
watch
long
a Foils
time.
War.
So
It was very good.
it was very good. So
Mhm.
we're I think we just finished season 8,
Is that where we're at? Okay.
maybe 7.
Mhm.
Maybe it's 7. But
That means there's not many left.
there's
That's
not
sad.
many left. There's just a few more. And
Well, we didn't watch the first 2 seasons, did we?
We did not.
Okay, so
there-
we look
there's
at
some
that.
there's some back work. we can-
Backstory needs to
Yeah,
do.
we can go back to
Mhm.
get those. So yeah, and I did skip one episode, that the previous episode,
Oh.
and
Is that the one that you had seen
Uh-huh,
already? Oh,
right.
okay.
which is a very interesting episode, but we'll come back to that later.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So those were good. Yeah, but that's. I'm trying to think of what else has happened during the week. Hey, just a reminder, I will talk about this. I think I'm going to film the news section here sometime today. It's easier for me to do that when the equipment is out of the church.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but reminder that we're going to do the backyard party this Friday.
Mhm.
People have been asking, what does that look like?
That's
We're
a good
using the
question.
model about the Thursday family. What do we call that? Christian family supper.
Oh yeah, the Christian Family Supper. Mhm.
Uh-huh. That's kind of the model that we did for Holy Thursday, which was a kind of a spin-off of the Seder meal, right? Where we were all sitting in our own homes, eating our own meals, and it was just really nice. Now that was in deep quarantine when
That
people
was.
really had not been seeing
Mhm.
anybody.
Right.
And it was really, really touching and refreshing just to see human faces, right?
It was.
So I don't know if it'll have the same effect, but still want to do something. So the idea is go to your backyard. You don't have to be in your backyard, but you can be in your living room if you,
you could
want.
be in your front yard.
You can be in your front yard.
You could be in a park. You could be on rocks. You could be on a boat.
Sam, I am.
Exactly.
I will not drink it on the deck. I will not eat it.
With a peck of, I don't know. With a speck. I don't know. I'm
So,
sorry, people.
Anyway, I'll be sitting on my deck on Friday evening from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And I invite you to stop by and say hi and see what's going on. The reason I'm doing that is my birthday, and so again, I'm using the excuse of my birthday to hopefully connect people, not connect people for the excuse of wishing me happy birthday. But the idea is hopefully people will just stop by at least for a little bit, and then maybe they'll stay for a little bit because they'll see their friends
Mhm.
on the screen, and they say, "Hey, I haven't seen you forever. It's so good to see you." That's kind of the idea.
Right.
So
I'm
the
looking
back-
forward to it.
yeah.
It should be fun.
the backyard party was really super fun. We did 2 of them last year. One of them was bigger than the other.
Oh yeah, I couldn't go to the second one for some reason.
I forget why. I
I think there's a wedding or some wedding rehearsal or something like
Yeah.
that. Mhm.
So we had 2, and it's great because it's no work at all. Because I say I'm not going to provide anything. I provided my boom box, and that's all I provided.
Mhm.
And the keys were the gym was open for the bathrooms, but that was it. And then just hanging out. Other than
Mhm.
that, so that's
Very
what
low
it's-
key.
Very low key, and that's the same kind of thing for this backyard party. Is very low key. We have nothing planned. I'm just going to be sitting in a chair, drinking some sort of beverage, maybe having a snack, and
There we go.
I encourage you all to do the same and to pipe in. I'll provide the Zoom link for that. So that's how it'll work. So everyone will be on their own Zooming.
Will that be live streamed on Facebook?
No.
Okay, I was just curious. I wasn't sure.
Right. That's a good point. Because I am not certain that everyone wants to be on Facebook.
That was one of my.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So it'll be just us. It won't be publicized for everybody to see.
Mhm. Okay. What there seems to be a comment there.
Yeah, from Barb.
From what?
From Barb.
No, I don't. I can't see it.
So yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so yes, I suppose that's fairly common knowledge. Deacon Marcos has tested positive for COVID, and he was at Mass a couple weeks ago. That's true, and he was distributing communion. That's true. That's why we try to take all those precautions.
Mhm,
So,
With the information we have at this point, it doesn't seem like he would have been infected during that time. But
yeah, right. So we don't know. We don't know if he was, if it was. Yeah, that's a good point. We don't know if it was. If he had that at that time. We just don't know.
It's But I would presume, since we haven't seen anything else show up at this point, we're probably pretty safe.
Right.
And the information has been out long enough that we should have seen some other rumblings coming forward. So
Sure. And I've heard nothing. So.
Mhm.
So we, No, I stress we try to take every precaution,
Mhm.
but we are not 100% safe. I mean,
There's no way to be 100% safe. You're not 100% safe in your house.
right.
That's one of the things. Like as long as your goal is to totally eliminate risk, you will be completely unsuccessful at that. So we can't take unsuccessful paths. We have to take the goal of minimizing risks minimizing risks while we can at the same time achieve the goal of the parish,
Sure.
which is the formation of our people, development of the kingdom of God,
Salvation
of souls, sanctification through the sacraments. So as long as we are doing what we can to minimize those risks, we are doing basically what we're called to do by God
Right.
at this point. If you're looking for zero risk, then there's no living, because there's no such thing
Sure.
as zero risk.
But there is certainly less risk, that's true, by
Mm-hmm.
not coming to church, and the obligation still is.
Oh, certainly.
You are still not obliged to come to Mass. If you have concerns, stay at home. We're trying to do everything we can, but we are, and we have been pretty conservative on this as well.
Oh,
Like,
certainly. I mean, we are one of the most conservative parishes, I would say, when it comes to
Yeah. How often does that come out?
right. When it comes to our cleaning and our safety
Right.
mechanisms. We are safer, I am convinced, than any supermarket, than any restaurant, because at any one of those places you can see people walking around without their masks on or half on, half off, and they're not getting cleaned nearly as frequently. The church is cleaned before and after every Mass.
Mostly.
Yeah, exactly. But we run a disinfector throughout on Sundays.
Right.
We are insisting that everybody wears a mask almost 100% of the time there. We have hand sanitizer available. If you look at the safety mechanisms that we have, we are a much safer space than a supermarket or a restaurant.
Right. We do have some gaps, and so and that's been brought to my attention. And when we see those, we try to address those. So, like it was brought up that someone didn't sanitize their hands after they received, and so I've tried to address that. I've talked to all the Eucharistic ministers. Someone I noticed just this 10 o'clock Mass, I made a beeline because I noticed they had not sanitized his hands, so I ran from the camera
Oh, really?
over there and said, "Did you sanitize afterwards?" He said, "No." I said, "Please do," and he did. He was very, he forgot or whatever. And it's easy to do, So,
Oh, certainly, yeah.
I
In every Mass, I'm sanitizing like 4 or 5 times. 'Cause
Right.
I touch my mask, okay, I sanitize. I do this, I sanitize.
But we did get like new direction where we could do only every other pew, and we did not. We still have 2 spaces in between every pew.
Mhm.
Is that overkill? Maybe, but we felt not a need to readjust all those tape markings at this point in time. And
Right, and our limits for Masses have not been pushed.
right, so
And it will be different too after we see the beginning of the school year, after we see larger groups of people gathering more frequently again.
Yeah.
We may need to change our practices, either being whatever direction it would be, and we are open to that at this point.
right. Yes, I think that I see that Jen comments as well as not wearing masks while in the pew. That was here. That was they lessened that policy, and I brought that up to the staff. I said, "Should we lessen ours?" And we said no. And then they re-backed to wearing masks at all times. I think, right? Isn't it? So for a while it was when you came in, you had to have your mask on, and when you received communion, you had to have your mask on. But when you were sitting in your pew, you didn't. But then they have restated in our diocese, I believe, that you have to, when you're sitting in your pew, be wearing your mask.
Right. And that is partly the Kansas directives that were put forward. So after those directives go out,
That's
we'll
right,
have to
that's
see what they do.
Yeah.
But I believe that our policies will still be people are required to wear masks.
Yeah, right. So we are planning on that. I know that not everyone likes it, and Father Ashmore and I do a little bit differently because technically priests are not required, and maybe even discouraged to wear masks during the Mass, and we just have kind of different ways that we do that. And I think it's fine that we I mean, not every priest is the same, and every priest does things a little bit differently. So I hopefully people don't judge either one of us. We just have different approaches. There really is no need for us to wear a mask while we are in the sanctuary, especially the way our sanctuary is structured, where there is nobody else in the sanctuary at all.
And it's notable to point out that every item on the altar is covered,
Right.
except for the host that I'm going to be
Right.
consuming when I'm saying Mass. So there is no possibility for projectile spittle to go anywhere.
Right. So I overkill it a bit, and but it's really not necessary, and can be frustrating to others because my sound is muffled, and I get that, and it could be seen as not as reverent as a way to celebrate Mass or whatever. So that's why I think it's good for us to have two different ways that we have the style that some people might prefer this, some people might prefer that. Great, every other week you got your preference. So, which I think is good. So. And again, when we are closer to people, we're wearing our masks. But when we're standing up there at the altar and there's nobody within 18 feet, there's really not a need. But you'll also notice, you might have noticed, I used to preach down in the front, and I'm not doing that anymore because that gets me closer to people. So I'm staying at the ambo. And now it was necessary because of the camera before, but now for other masses, I'm not coming down there either because I'm a little worried that I'm too close to people. So.
Right. And we've also taken steps to shorten our Mass significantly.
Right.
And Father Kent and I both do things every weekend to try to keep that short. And we're booking it basically at 45 minutes because to do all that we're doing in 45 minutes is very impressive.
Yep.
And really, to be honest, I celebrated Mass at another parish 2 weeks ago, and I was done with Mass in 40 minutes there. But they weren't singing anything or chanting anything. So we were actually pretty quick for the fact that we were still doing a lot of music.
Right.
And when you consider that our Mass prior to this time was an hour and 5 minutes, hour and 10 minutes pretty frequently, we've done a lot to try to minimize all of those different variables that could add to a more higher risk situation.
I did Eucharistic Prayer 1 at the 8 a.m. Mass in 44 minutes.
Look at that. That's impressive.
Yeah, it was like opposite day. You did Eucharistic Prayer 2 and I did Eucharistic Prayer 1.
That's hilarious.
But it just fit. My modus operandi is I try to pick a Eucharistic, just little behind the scenes here, I try to pick a Eucharistic prayer that matches with the theme either of the readings or of the homily. And so I like having a lot of options, and I really like those prayers for various occasions when I can use those. Those are nice. But I thought, for what I was talking about with the homily this week was about the need to pray for our church. And so I thought that really tied into Eucharistic Prayer 1, where we beseech you, O Lord, whatever the words are, to bless, sanctify our church and whatever, which can sometimes come across, and one of the reasons I don't sometimes use it, it sometimes sounds a little bit exclusive, if you will, or stressing when we sometimes have people of other faiths there, that if they are hearing those words, obviously they're coming to a Catholic Mass, they should get it, but anyway, but I thought it really worked well with the context this time, so that's why I chose Eucharistic Prayer 1, but 44 minutes.
That's pretty impressive. Very impressive.
We also don't sing the Mass parts at the 8 a.m. Mass. So
that's a good
helps,
point.
but,
That does help.
yeah. So I don't know if there's anything else on that.
No, it's just basically a review of all of our processes. Are there any other processes that we're doing that people may not know about?
That's a good point. Well, we some people have been asking about like the use of our space. We are basically only open for sacraments and some formation. Like so, we're still working with Miguel, our DRE, our Director of Religious Education, and coming up with a system that is somewhat reflective of what the school is doing. So giving parents the option of in-home or here, and not using the classrooms. When they are here, they will be in the social hall. But pretty much any other groups or parish council, finance council, the widows group, none of those are meeting on the grounds at this point. everyone is welcome to meet outside. We have a beautiful garden area that I really
Mhm.
would encourage people to use if they would like to. It's really lovely. And there's a tree out there, which I have done some one-on-one meetings, maintaining a 6 feet distance. It's lovely, and even on a hot day, it's so shady that it's just lovely out there.
Oh, okay.
So I've been
I'm
using
glad
that a
you use
bit.
that over there too.
So that's very nice. We're still doing confessions outside, for instance.
We are. That's another way that we are more conservative than other parishes who have moved their confessions back inside.
Right. We are concerned about people touching a bunch of things coming in and having to worry about, because we are both obviously out of commission. If we're hearing confessions, we can't like be watching real closely what everyone's doing.
We don't know what the person is doing on the other side
Right.
on the screen. I mean, they
Right.
could be touching all sorts of things over there. So.
Well, and just like they would line up against the wall, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah,
they're
yeah,
touching
yeah.
all those walls and touching the doorknobs or whatever. So we're still in the cars outside. Or actually, I'm sitting in a chair mostly now. We're standing. We're both
Yeah.
standing outside. It's too
Mhm.
hot in the car now. But yeah, we're still maintaining that. Yeah, one of the reasons we went outside in the first place, I think it's still encouraged not to use enclosed confessionals.
It's true.
And so we are not doing that at all. And our church, the 1 week that we did the Wednesday confessions, we were on opposite sides of the church, and I could still kind of hear what was going on the opposite side of the church.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
having two people, well, having even one person, because then the line could hear. So,
Right.
so that didn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to look, if we came back inside, we'd have to do something other than the church. And I don't know where that would be. So.
Neither do I.
Yeah, so
Mm.
those are kind of the other processes. Any other processes?
We have as a standard that basically if there's a meeting we can do on Zoom, we do it on Zoom.
Mhm.
If there's a meeting we can't do on Zoom, we try to do it outside. If we can't do it outside, we do it in the largest space possible. So
Mhm.
that is just making it so that we have a process that will put as many people in low risk environments, depending of what we're doing at that point. So we've tried to think through everything
Right.
so that you don't have to.
Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful going through all that to all those pieces. What else going on? What all you? Oh, and I saw Carly there that you have a feast day dinner celebration tomorrow. That's awesome. 2 of your patrons, Jane, Francis, and Claire, had their feast days. So
Oh, wonderful.
those are 2 great saints, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Jane Francis is Francis de Chantal is
De Chantal.
is a wonderful example of friendship among the saints because she and Francis de Sales were great friends and they actually supported each other in their mutual apostolate. So there's an interesting example. Often we think of saints being relatively despised figures among the days, which is pretty common to be honest. But often saints were close friends too. Francis de Sales and Jean Francis were close friends, and Gregory the Great Gregory of Nyssa and Basil were both great friends. And,
Right.
mm-hmm.
Well, let me put in a plug here. Then also, while we're talking about friendship, that's a tagline for the Holy Family School of Faith Rosary, which I discovered from my Holy Land trip, which I've plugged before. But Holy Family School of Faith does a rosary, and they're trying to get 10,000 followers or whatever before next week, which is the Queenship of Mary, and they're doing a big celebration for that, socially distanced and everything. But yeah, their big thing is friendship, good conversation, and the rosary. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the movement that they're trying to embrace. And so we look for opportunities to have good conversation, good friendship, and praying the rosary together.
Rosary.
Right. And that is the idea, is that we build each other up in that friendship, and we for the salvation of our souls, that we need this. And that's one of the reasons we're still trying to do these kinds of things. We're still trying to be present with Mass and everything, because as Michael Schurzlich's been saying, is we need this. We can't just isolate.
Mm-hmm.
That will be the destruction of our souls.
Right.
We still need friendship. We still need good conversation. We still need to pray. Those all
Certainly.
need to happen. They have to happen a little bit differently now, but they still got to happen.
Absolutely. And that's both on a spiritual level and a human level, because it's one of the effects that we've seen while we've been trying to discourage the growth of this true infectious disease is also other diseases of despair growing.
Sure.
And so we need to be counteracting those at the same time, developing those human relationships and those spiritual relationships that will allow us to confront any of the trials that are coming towards us in this day and age.
Right. And I still encourage people to use your time wisely. If you have different time, I mean, there's lots of squandered time going on right now, I think, and this can really be a great opportunity for growth, and that you didn't have time to do that before, but now you do. That's like, for me, I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, well, I am a little bit, but I mean, I could just sit around and just watch television, but one of the reasons I'm taking on the Bible study is to hold myself accountable, because if I have to teach a class every week, I have to then study every week throughout the week. I need that kind of thing to keep myself accountable. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing it, is because I'm not necessarily going to do it on my own. But if I have something that I need to present, that's going to keep me accountable and will help me to use my time more wisely.
Wasn't it Isaac Newton that developed calculus during the quarantine after one of the
I think
plagues?
something like that, yeah.
Something of that sort.
Yeah, so there you go. Develop a new system of math.
Exactly. This one can be based off a triangle or something like that. I don't know.
Right. So
it was such a weird comment. I'm sorry.
But yes, so keep those things up. Keep using that time wisely. Yes.
Beautiful.
Awesome, Jen. Keep continuing to pray that rosary every morning, and yeah, Michael Surslick talks about the way that
There we go.
it can. A couple days ago, he was talking about all the tragedies that have been prevented because of the faithful praying of the rosary.
Right.
Kind of anecdotal, but like we're talking about Hiroshima or Nagasaki or whatever that bombing was, in the Jesuit chapel, that they said that they were saved because it was right next to the blast, basically, and it was completely fine.
Right.
And it was their testimony was that we were praying the rosary every day, and we were protected by the mantle of Mary. That's what they strongly believe. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, the world needs a rosary now more than ever. So keep praying that rosary.
There we are. Well, you have much more to say?
I don't think so. And then, but I did see, Laura, I did see your comment over there. Yeah, getting back busy. Yeah, we're just again, what we're talking about at the beginning of our episode today was just let us know if this format is still helpful for you. I know that people are getting busy, and I know that people do watch it later. So I mean, we have 19 eyeballs now on Facebook. I see, and I think there were 4 over there on YouTube. But I know that people do watch it later, and that's fine. So just let us know if this continues to be helpful for you. And I mean, I like the idea of so right now our live shows have, our shows for the week, we have this kind of chatty thing. We have a news show, and I have the Bible study, and then we have the masses, of course. So 3 different purposes there. This is kind of help chat, keep people connected. We have the news to help people stay informed, and we have the Bible study to help people stay formed. So that's those kind of things. So I think that there is still probably some need for some sort of community, something or other. So just let us know what we can do.
And I know nothing about that, Karen or Lauren.
Whoa!
But do not fear. We've been assured by the diocese that there will not be a ending of the dispensation until at least the end of the year. Maybe more than that. On a couple occasions, they have reiterated that to us. So I would be very surprised to see an ending of the dispensation until several months from now.
Right. South Dakota might be a totally different reality as well.
Yeah.
That's a more rural area, I think.
Very rural.
And so he might be looking at his people and saying, I really don't see a need at this point. So I don't know. I'm not in South Dakota, and you aren't either. So so thanks, Sarah. Appreciate that for the early birthday greetings. But I've been thinking the last couple days about Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay. Where?
Well, if the Anglo community comes to Mass once or twice a year, when do they come?
They come on Christmas and Easter.
Right. So if there is some time that people are going to want to think, I haven't been to Mass for 8 months, but I really want to go on Christmas, I bet you there'll be lots of people that way, and we got to figure out what that might look like.
That's a good point.
So I've been kind of bouncing that around. I don't know what that
I thought you were
looks
saying it was Christmas now, and I was
No,
like,
it's not
I was
Christmas
not
now.
prepared.
But
I'm
I
gonna
am-
set up a tree.
But I've already started thinking about that is because I don't think that things are going to necessarily be much better by Christmas even, but people might have the desire to come to church. And
This is true.
how do we respond to that need? And yeah, I was thinking about something. So
Yep.
that's in my thought process. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Imagine we can decorate the whole church with the outside of the church with lights. We can set off fireworks, and so that when we end Christmas or when we end Christmas Mass at like midnight or something, we can set off fireworks and it can say "Merry Christmas" in the sky.
whoa,
And then everybody can celebrate with us.
whoa.
That's my idea.
We'll get on that. All right, very good. Well, so
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
well, thanks so much for watching Church Chat today, and we will I think close it out here. So thanks for watching, and I think we're back on next Wednesday. How do you know what your Wednesday looks like next week?
Yep.
Looks like we got a Joko Hispanic Ministry meeting in the afternoon, but
Yeah, we should be fine.
so.
All right. Thank you all so
We have
much.
confirmation next week too.
We do
our last
indeed.
confirmation. So all right, have a great rest of your day and week.
Thank you all very much. God bless you all.